Thank you. What a nice introduction. I don't know about the star of that. There were some good people in that. How's everybody today? It's a good crowd, good-looking group. The women of Orlando are in trouble, I think. Save some for me. I'm a good writer. I don't know if I've got a blog called righthandmanifesto.blogspot.com. Show of hands, who's ever read any of my articles on there? Okay, good. I'm a much better writer than I'm a speaker, so I'd rather just come and kind of give you a talk. Not the most gifted, but I'll try to add some of my humor and experience. A little about myself. Contrary to the popular opinion that I was raised by wolves or nuns, depending on which woman you ask, I'm more than just like an Irish boy that can hold my drink and a conversation. I'm a father, son, brother, friend, former husband, mentor, sometimes a lover. And I'm just like your average guy. You know, I've had some success in business. Now I define my life by the kind of things I enjoy to do. It's not so much about, you know, when you meet somebody, they always say, hey, what do you do? And then you're kind of judged by your vocation or what you've chosen to do with your life. I think of more things, you know, I describe myself, you know, I play the guitar. I sound worse than Bob Dylan. I sing off key, but I still expect to be treated like a rock star. I like to cook. It's a great skill to have. It's fun. I've got 3 daughters. That's a big part of my life, raising them, seeing them grow up. It's really cool. And I've got a lot of great friends and great family in town. Someone was asking earlier, I was out in the lobby talking, that I'm fortunate in American culture, generally when you reach adulthood, you go to college, and you kind of move off, and you move away from your family. I'm very fortunate. All my family lives here in Orlando, my kids, my parents, my brothers, so it's really a nice twist. American culture seems to be more pulled apart at the seams in the past 30 or 40 years. So that's a little bit about myself. On the interview for the community tapes, I explained a little bit how I got in the community. I joined the local lair a few years ago, met some great guys. I see a couple guys in it, hear from it. 3 of my best friends now I met through the community, so I owe a lot to it. I kind of backed away from it in the past couple years because I think there's a progression that people go into they get in the community, they get involved because they need a new paradigm in dealing with women. And so I found that, got excited about it, did some crazy things, and I think you got to push yourself to the edge of your comfort zone and do some things. I never wore a feather boa or a stuffed animal around my neck, but you know, I've plenty of times of clawing women in, saying just craziest shit to them, and seeing some good results from that. But I thought, what am I going to, I talked last year, you guys can go online and look at the speech. Some of you may, a couple of guys told me that they had seen the video from last year and enjoyed that. And that was like taking a drink out of a fire hydrant, because I was trying to throw all my experience of what I do, my own style in dealing with women, into one speech, and it ran over, and Anthony was very gracious. He gave me more time. But this year I thought, when we were doing the community tapes, he asked me the question, what are you going to talk about? And I thought, well, everybody, there's guys better at pickup that are coming, you know, to share with you their style of doing it. And my experience really comes from, I'm not a great pickup artist. I'm not lacking by any means in that area. I always have a lot of options in my life when it comes to women. But the other part of the background, why I chose to talk about it, is that I'll be 45 this year, so I'm a little older than most people in the room. And when Anthony asked my question, what do you talk about? I said, well, since he's kind of turning the whole 21 convention to be more of a success type seminar for young men, what's the best thing I could share? A good buddy of mine, always have these conversations, and we're sharing things about mistakes we've made in the past 10 years. He said, wouldn't it be great if you get your hands on a book that was all the things my dad never told me? So, you know, our dads had an experience and grown up with their father and what they shared with them. Maybe some of them had limited experience with different things in life. Some of them had one part of expertise, but some of them missed it in this area. Some of them got young. Some of our dads maybe married a couple times. So I thought that the best thing I could share with you is the top 10 mistakes that a man can make in his 20s. And I'm going to pull my watch out now, my clock. right? I don't wear a watch anymore. Who wears a watch these days? When somebody asks me the time, it's always like if somebody asks you the time, you still pull out your iPod or your cell phone. I'll put that there so I don't run over. Top 10 mistakes a man can make in his 20s. I probably made half of these and watched other people make the other half. And it seems like when I talk to my friends who are in their late 30s, the guys that I hang around with and I'm closest with, I see some common threads that run through. And I wish that when I was 20, somebody would have got a hold of me and told me. I have these deep conversations with my mom, and she talks about my ex-wife, and she says, you know, I saw that coming. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me anything? She says, well, because you were 21 and you thought you knew everything. She goes, you know, you wouldn't have listened to me anyways. So they're really in no particular order of importance, but I'll go through these. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk for a little bit, and at the end, I'll give us plenty of time for Q&A, because hopefully I'll raise some questions in your mind, and then we can just like freestyle it, as they say, right? Number one mistake that a guy can make in his 20s to avoid would be chasing any woman. It seems to be the theme in the community more and more in the past few years. Who is the guy that writes the blog? He used to be Herbal. He's got that little book out, How to Get the Girl to Chase You. And I think that's actually the way you want to flip the script. But chasing any woman is bad, and it starts from the very first time that you see a woman. Because how does the traditional, typical American culture thing go? Boy sees hot girl, and all boy sees is hot girl. You know, I want her, I get her. A lot of pickup in the past, in the early stages of the community, was all geared toward you trying to impress her, get her attention, try to create some attraction, try to get her interest up, and try to escalate from there. But I think the problem with chasing a woman, number one, is you set the stage that you come across as needy. I need something from you. So this may be a girl that you meet at work. It could be somebody in your social circle. It could be the girl that you see at the bar or the club. And all of a sudden you see hot girl and you feel a twinge in your groin, or you're like, wow, she's hotter than the girl I'm seeing right now. Or you're like, that would be a great notch in my belt. Or let me just have them out for fun tonight. Let's see how far I can push it with her. But that whole thing of you being the one chasing, it just reeks of neediness. And even after the pickup thing where you see this girl, and maybe you go and hang out with her, and you start to hang out with her a little bit more, and you find yourself that you're the one kind of initiating the communication. It just, unless you're a little bit aloof, it kind of reeks of clinginess. It's like, I need something from her. So the way to combat that, to avoid that mistake, is my rule, is that any non-face-to-face communication with a woman should be very limited. And if you're not in front of her, because what's the old saying is that, I can't believe this is going to be the internet, the whole world's going to see it, but you can't have sex with a woman over the phone, right? It's got to be face-to-face. So any kind of non-face communication, text, phone calls, emails, just you got to keep it to a minimum. That way the woman knows you're not chasing her. I had this conversation very recently, and the woman said to me, she's like, I'm the one who is always initiating the communication. And we're sitting down, we're having a glass of wine, some cheese. She came over to my house, and she's like, I want to ask you a question. I've got this other guy that I've met. I know him 7 years ago, and he didn't want to date me then, but now he's interested. And I just met you a couple weeks ago, but I'm the one making all the initiation. I've made the phone calls. I've texted you. I'm like, yeah, I called you back. She's like, yeah, but I'm the one doing that. I said, listen, my rule is I'm not going to chase any woman. I said, because I'm not the clingy type. I said, how about that other guy? She's like, yeah, it's kind of creeping me out because he's calling me all the time.